Okay, who can describe the last chapter? Just let's remember what happened in the last chapter, last week. The first chapter was about the description of Egdon Heath, okay, and the second chapter, humanity. So what kind of humanity appear? Yes? So we have a new character in the scene. His name is the Riddle Man, okay? Who is the Riddle Man? Yes. Very good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's the Riddle Man. We have another human. Yes? The old man. Very good. The old man is an important character, and we will know his role in this novel. So who's the old man? Captain Vi. So can you describe this old man? Okay, thank you very much. Others? Who's the old man? He is Captain Vi. That's right. But what kind of character? Can you describe him? What is his role in this chapter? We said that he's a curious character, and because of his conversation, okay, with the Riddle Man, we knew many things about the novel, okay? Then we have another, just like, yes? Thomason, yes, good. What else? Yes? The young, beautiful lady. Now, what about today? Today we have the custom of the country. So it seems that something, what is the meaning of the custom, first of all? What is the custom of the country? Can you explain the meaning of the title? At the beginning, we have to know the meaning of the title in order to be able to analyze it. Yes, sir? Yes, the traditions, okay, of the country. Which country? You know which country? It is Egdon Heath in Wessex, okay? So, in this chapter, today we will explain the traditions of Egdon Heath. Now, let's see what are the traditions of Egdon Heath. We knew the description of Egdon Heath, and we knew the humanities, and now we have to know the traditions. What kind of traditions, what kind of society? Can you describe it? There's something important in this chapter, which is the idea of the bonfire, right? So we have the bonfire. What is the meaning of the bonfire, and can you describe the tradition of the bonfire? Yes, let's see. Others? Yes. So it's a mark of celebration. When they want to celebrate, they will use the bonfire. Yes. Yes. What do we call them? The local people who lived in the Heath. We call them the folks. Okay. Now we have many folks in this chapter. Can you count them? We have Christian. Fairways, yes. Very good. Yes. Thompson, the Riddle Man, Pistachios. So we have many folks now in this chapter. So the folks, there are, as I told you before, that we have major and minor characters, right? So the folks, those people who are celebrating using the bonfire, they are minor characters. But they will give us something important in this novel, which is the tradition, okay? Now, the folks are talking about what? They are gathering around the bonfire, celebrating, but they are talking or gossip. You know gossip?
Yes.
So, talking about what? Yes, mister?
They were discussing the marriage of Thomason and...
So they are talking about
marriage.
the Ubride's family. The Ubride's family. Okay? So, we have an important event happen in the Ubright family. Can you describe this event? What about the others? Why didn't you prepare? Yes. Yes, your name?
Name.
Yes.
Family is concept has us on the Ubright family.
Yes.
Apparently, Miss Ubright publicly opposite her nurses in
So, Mrs. Ubright, you know Mrs. Ubright?
Yes.
Okay? She refused the marriage between Thomason and Wilder. Why? Do you know why?
Yes.
Why she refused this marriage? Or she was opposite to that marriage? Why? What do you think?
Because Thomason was married a man called Clem.
No, she is not married. She is a single Thomason. Okay? And it is supposed that today will be her wedding day with Wilder. Okay? But it seems that Mrs. Ubright refused this marriage. Of course, for one reason. Yes?
Because she was thinking that Thomason and her was higher than him and better.
Very good. This is the first reason. The first reason is the idea of a class distinction. The Ubright family is high-class family. Okay? They thought that they are the best, and Mrs. Ubright is the best woman, the high one. Okay? So, because of the idea of a class distinction, since Wilder is a simple man, he is working in an inn which is called Quiet Woman Inn. So it seems that Wilder is unsuitable to marry Thompson. Okay? So because of the idea of class distinction, in which, you know the class distinction, we have high class, we have middle, and we have low class. So Thomas Hardy treats this idea clearly in this novel. We will see this also throughout the analysis of other chapters. We have, this theme will appear with Stasia White, with the Clem Ubright, and with others. So, the Ubright family from high class, okay? Wilder may be middle class, since he is working in an inn which is called the Quiet Woman Inn. So, Wilder is unsuitable husband to Thompson, okay? Since she is Thompson Ubright, so it is not suitable to marry Wilder. That's why her aunt opposite to that marriage. This is one reason. We have another reason, secondary reason. You know from the title, the return of the native. So it seems that the native will come. Okay? The native will come. Who is that native? Yes?
The son of Mrs. Ubright.
The son of Mrs. Ubright. What about his name?
Clem.
Clem Ubright. Okay? So it seems that Clem Ubright will come. Okay? And Mrs. Ubright wants Thomason to marry Clem Ubright. So these are the two reasons why Mrs. Ubright refused the marriage between Wilder and Thompson. The first one related to the idea of a class distinction. Okay, and the second one is about Clem Ubright. Okay? Now, back to the celebration of the folks. Now they are celebrating using the bonfires, and they are happy and talking about the Ubright family. The most important event in which they were talking about is the marriage or the wedding between Wilder and Thompson. Now, can you tell me about their speech, their conversation? Of course, we have many events And as I told you that from the dialogue, the technique of dialogue or conversation, we can discover many things about the novel. So, yes, tell me, what happened?
They also discussed the area fear of Mrs. Wright from the marriage and the return of Mrs. Wright's son, Ryan.
Yes.
And,
It seems that Clemio Bright will come back home on a Christmas day. Okay, so the whole Egdon Heath will celebrate this event and they will welcome him. Now, can you tell me something about Clemio Bright? Who is Clem? Where is he now? And why he will come back? He is the native in which he will come back home, but he was traveling to?
He came back from Paris to,
Yes.
to educate the people in Egdon Heath.
Very good. He has something which is very important. The main reason for his travel is to educate the Egdons. You know that Egdon Heath is a primitive place, uneducated, and we explained something about Egdon Heath, and we said that civilization was its enemy. So the role of Clemio Bright is to educate people. Okay? Yes? What else? Tell me about the marriage. What about the wedding day? Today is the wedding between Wilde and Thompson. So what happened? Do you think that the marriage is okay or something went wrong? Who was inside the van of the riddleman? You know from the previous chapter that the riddleman is coming. That the riddleman carrying someone inside his van, and he refused to say anything about this woman, and she's not his wife, okay? And he mentioned that you don't know her, okay, previously, but now we will know this character. It seems that while people or the folks are celebrating using the bonfire, the riddleman came and asked about Mrs. Wright, okay? So the riddleman is asking about Mrs. Wright. The folks answered him that they don't know anything about her, but he told them something about, why didn't you prepare? You prepare, so let's complete this, the event. What's the event? Discuss your summaries. Where is it? They told her that now Mrs. Wright come back, and they told her that there is a riddleman who came here and asked about her. Okay, but she don't know that riddleman, and later on, you are lazy. So, yes, it seems that something went wrong with the marriage license between Wilde and Thompson. For this reason, Thompson now inside the van of the riddleman. Okay, yes, you want to say something? Who's Olai? Who's Olai? She is one of the folks. Yes.
He questioned her some questions, but she refused to answer him. Then Mrs. Wright meets the riddleman.
Yes.
He told her about Thomason, that she is inside the van, and finally
Why Thomason inside the van? What happened to her?
Because she was sad.
Why she is sad?
Yes, she runs away.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, Mr.
Because Sheffield, something goes bad, something happened in her marriage, so they regard her marriage as something disapprove her marriage. So she came back with the little man.
And she was very tired, okay, and sick because of the marriage. She supposed that Wilde will not marry her. For this reason, she is very sad, okay? This is concerning the customs of the country, and now we know the traditions when they have certain happy events, okay? They used to celebrate using the bonfire. But the first bonfire, the most glimmering bonfire, appeared from Captain Vi's house. So, you know the house of Captain Vi?
Yeah.
Captain Vi has, it is not house actually, it's just like a cottage, okay? And inside this cottage we have just two characters. We have Captain Vi and Pistachios Vi, okay? His granddaughter. Now, it seems that there is a bonfire glimmering from the cottage of Captain Vi. What is the symbolic meaning of this bonfire? The bonfire is alone, okay? There is no one from the folks inside, and the house of Captain Vi glimmering, okay, but from far away. And they don't know who used this bonfire. So what do you expect? What is the symbolic meaning of the bonfire? Yes.
I think there's two things, two
Yes.
meanings. First one is Pistachios was socially outcast.
Yes, good.
And the second is her bonfire was seen far away, from far away distance.
So if it is far away, this means that she...
That means when somebody comes, like the person who returned,
Yes.
we'll see it first.
Yes, very good, very good. It's a mark of something, mark of love, okay, mark of sadness, of alienation, okay. So the bonfire of Pistachios is different from others because it seems that it's glimmering from far away, okay. And this means that maybe she will have certain relationship with the person that he is far away and he will come back. And then it seems that this bonfire alienated from others. So this reflects the character of Pistachios. It seems that she is always alienated. She suffered from loneliness, as I told you before, because she don't like to live in Igden heat, since it is a primitive, uncivilized place, and she's an educated woman. Yes, Mr. You want to say something?
Also, I think bonfire means that someone is waiting for something. Like when Pistachios was waiting to chat or to meet the wild thing.
Yes, good, good. So this is a good point. It seems that Pistachios is waiting, the bonfire, since it's glimmering from far away, it seems that Pistachios is waiting for someone. She's waiting for her dream to be achieved. And you know her dream, to get ready from Igden Heath, to be free from this place in order to travel, okay? So it seems that she's waiting for... Now, what do you expect? She's waiting for whom? Actually, she's waiting for two characters. The first one is Wilder, while the second one is Clemio Bright. Very good. Okay? Yes, thank you very much. Now open your books. Let's see the important events. The custom of the country. By the way, you didn't prepare again. Yes. The most important symbol in this chapter is the bonfires. Now, what is the meaning of the bonfires? We have to summarize them. We have many bonfires, some of them for the folks. I told you just now that they use it as a mark of celebration. So the bonfires of the folks, for what? Celebration. Okay, so they were very happy. They used to dance and sing and talking about the Ubright family. So now, what about the folks? The folks are dancing, singing, and talking about the Ubright family. So the bonfire here symbolizes happiness. Okay? another bonfire, which is called Pistachios Bonfire. So Pistachios Bonfire is different. We have just explained it. First of all, the bonfire of Pistacia is glimmering from far away. This means that maybe she's waiting for someone who's far away to, just like Clemio Bright. Okay? So it's a glimmering from far away. What else? It is an alienated bonfire. Okay, so we have two interpretations for these. It's glimmering from far away means she's waiting for a clump. And it is an alienated bonfire to reflect the personality of Pistacia Bai. She is alienated from her society. Okay, so theme of alienation is very important in this novel. Okay, yes?
She didn't only hate the citizens of Eden, they also hated her. The woman...
Why they hated her?
The woman put her as a witch because she was so beautiful and just like a witch is the man.
Yes, very good. This is a good description. They described her as a witch. And they hated her also because they thought all of them are primitive, simple people, but she's a proud figure. Okay? For this reason also they hate her. Yes, good. So this is the interpretation of the bonfires. We have, yes?
The one who helped Pistacia to turn the fire on is the little boy.
Yes. What was his name? Johnny, I think. Okay? Yes, what else? Do you want to ask something about the bonfires? So the bonfire is a mark of celebration used by the folk when they want to express their happiness. They were dancing and singing and talking about the Ubright family. While the bonfire of Pistacia Bai is different, it has symbolic meaning. The first meaning is that since it's glimmering from far away, so maybe she's waiting for someone who will come back home and he is far away now. And we expect that this person may be Clemio Bright. The other interpretation is that it is an indication of alienation, of sadness, and she is a proud figure. Okay, and people in Egdon Heath called her witch because of her beauty and her pride. This is the interpretation of the bonfire. Now, let's talk about the Ubright family. Is it clear now this? Yes. Okay. We have the Ubright family. Consists of, yes?
The Ubright family was the richest family in Egdon Heath.
Yes.
Pretty much they were like nobles or royalty.
Yes. They are the higher family, the richest family in Egdon Heath. Okay? So, from this family, we can discover the idea of class distinction. Okay? So, the Ubright family consists of Mrs. Ubright. Okay? She is the mother of Clem, or Clem's mother. So, the first member is Mrs. Ubright. What about Mrs. Ubright? She's an old woman. Okay? And she is proud also because she thought that their family is the highest family, and this is right. Okay? And we have another member, Thompson Ubright. Thompson is a beautiful, simple lady. Okay? She is in love with Wilde. But Thompson is quite different from Pistacia Bai. She just wants to get married from Wilde. To live a happy life, okay, and to have children. And we have the third member, Clem Newbright. Clem Newbright is the native. Okay. Now, the folks talking about the Newbright family, they mention certain features about Mrs. Newbright, in which she is a proud figure. Okay. And they talked about, this is the important theme. This is the important topic. They were talking about Thompson and Wilder. And yes, yes. Now they don't know whether this marriage will be succeeded or not, but it is the wedding day, and they are talking how Mrs. Newbright finally accepted this idea. She was refusing the marriage between Wilder and Thompson. Okay. They criticized the family, they talked about Thompson and about Mrs. Newbright. Also, they talked about Clem Newbright, and there is a news came to Egden here in which that Clem Newbright will come back home on a Christmas day. So, of course, they will celebrate this important event because you know that Clem Newbright will be the best member in Egden here. Okay? So, this was their speech. They were talking about Thompson Newbright and Wilder. And suddenly, the riddle man came, okay, asking about
Mrs. Newbright.
Mrs. Newbright. We have another character we have to clarify. Wilder is working, he's a simple character, he's working in a quiet woman inn, okay? This is important. Keep in your mind that Wilder is a simple figure, okay? He is working in an inn which is called the Quiet Woman Inn. And it seems that he's in love with Thompson, but later on we'll discover something else. Pistachios will break everything, okay? She will be in love with Wilder, so she will take Wilder from Thompson. And later on, she will be in love with the Clem, and she will take him again. So Pistachios will break everything or Thompson's life, okay? Yes, that's about the members. Now, let's talk about the riddle man. The riddle man, we explained the riddle man, description of the riddle man before. But now we have something important about the riddle man. Do you remember the riddle man was carrying a lady with him? Now he is seeking for Mrs. Newbright. The riddle man came asking the folks about Mrs. Newbright. So what do you think? What he wants from Mrs. Newbright? He's asking, a riddle man, you know, he is a very simple man, okay? Asking about Mrs. Newbright. So it seems that's something which is very important. Yes, miss, your name? Yes. Where she was going when he met her in the street. She was going to see Thompson and Wilder because she thought that they got married now. But suddenly she's surprised by the riddle man who told her that there's something wrong with the marriage and Thompson now is not with Wilder, but she's with me in the van. Okay? This is the important event about the riddle man. Now, what do you think, what is the reaction of Mrs. Newbright concerning this event? What is the reaction when she knew that Thompson now is very sad and sick and she is inside the van of the riddle man? Who's the riddle man? Yes?
The one who picked up
His name is Digory Vin. Do you think that why the riddle man helped Thomason? Is it something normal because he's helpful, he's a good person, or certain implied meaning in this event? Yes? It seems that he's in love with her, right? Yes, mister?
And the riddle man and Thomason were friends before.
Yes, they were friends before.
And Mrs. Newbright was not approving the marriage between Thompson and Wildy.
Yes.
Because she thought Wildy was a playboy and he's not up to the family.
Is this right? Do you think it's just expectations? I want your view concerning the events for today, for the chapters. Do you think that Wilde is a playboy, just like what Mrs. Bright thought? You know the meaning of playboy?
Yes.
So, do you think that he is a playboy or what? Yes?
Yes.
Yes. How? Why you expect this? Yes, Mr. Why you expect his?
Because he didn't marry Thomas.
Yes. So it seems that he intentionally made something wrong with the marriage license.
And we noticed that it is not the first time who didn't marry Thomas.
Yes.
He always come up with excuses.
Yes. Very good. And when he will see the bonfires, of course, the folks will come in order to celebrate their marriage. And they told him about the bonfires of Pistachios. And when the folks left, Mrs. Bright and Thompson left, he stayed alone. Now, the last event in these chapters is that it is just like a kind of soliloquy. You know soliloquy? Okay, thinking loudly with himself. So we discover something from the soliloquy. We discovered the character of Wilde. Wilde was thinking about the bonfire of Pistachios. So the bonfire of Pistachios is a mark of love, because Wilde will go to Pistachios and they will be in love with each other. So Thompson will not marry Wilde. It seems so. Yes? Yes, okay. Clear now these chapters? Okay. So now you know the three women. The title of the first book is The Three Women. Who are they? Mrs. Bright, Pistachios, and Thompson. And they are very different, okay? Everyone is quite different from the other. Everyone has certain character, okay? Different character. So for next time, I want you to prepare a summary for every one of them. The character of Pistachios, the character of Thompson, and Mrs. Bright. Okay, let's summarize and try to discover the most important quotations. Chapter 3, the custom of the country. We have the second paragraph. Every individual was so involved in first by his method of carrying the faggot that he appeared like a bush on legs till he had thrown them down. Now, every individual was so involved. This is important. Every individual of the folks, yes. All of you have books, right? Okay. We have the third paragraph. The third paragraph. The last lines. In the valleys of the heath, nothing save its own wild face was visible at any time of the day. So, why the valleys of the heath wild face, has a wild face? Look to the description. Thomas Hardy, you know Thomas Hardy, how he is pessimist and he's complex. But he described the face of Egdon Heath as wild. So what is the meaning of wild? I mean the symbolic meaning. What is the symbolic meaning of the wild face? You know that the face of Egdon Heath reflected by people, the folks, its citizen. So it seems that those people are wild. Look, we are talking about the custom of the country. So the customs, the traditions of the country, wild. Okay? Thomas Hardy described the face of Egdon Heath as wild face. And we said that the face of a place, not only Egdon Heath, any place, when we say that the face of this university, for example, okay, reflected by the people inside it. So this is what happened exactly with the written of the native. Wild face of Egdon Heath reflected by the citizen, by the folks. So it seems that people are wild. People or the custom of the country also wild. Okay, we will see how throughout the analysis of the rest of the novel. We will see why they are wild. Maybe they are not wild, but because they ruled by their customs, by their traditions, so it seems that they are wild. Okay? We will know why they are wild later on. So underline this, wild face, and write why, discuss. Then the next paragraph, the second line. Red suns and turfs of fire, one by one begin to arise, flaking the whole country round. They were the bonfires, underline the bonfires, and we explain the meaning of the bonfires. Okay? Do you understand the meaning of the bonfires? It's very important symbol. The last paragraph and the fourth line, yes, the fourth line. They were the bonfires. Now, the next page. Yes, the first paragraph. The last three lines. As the hour may be told on a clock face when the figures themselves are invisible. So, look, this is something very important. Now, while they are celebrating, it seems that the figures are invisible. What does this mean? The figures, the folks, now, while they are celebrating using the bonfires, but it seems that they are invisible to each other. So, what does this mean when we say that the figures are invisible?
I think they are not important figures.
They are not?
Important figures.
Uh-huh. No. Invisible means darkness. Darkness. So, Egden Heath dominated by darkness. And darkness symbolized sadness. Okay? So, when Thomas Hardy mentioned this term, invisible, this means that Egden Heath dominated by darkness, and the darkness symbolized sadness. Not only sadness, isolation. Okay? And from, if you see that from the first chapters, it seems that Egden Heath is dark. This means that, or this foreshadowing for something, which is the tragedy of this novel. You know, it's a tragedy, okay? And the heroine is Pistachios Bonfire.
It's just a question.
Yes.
If the folks were visible and dark, like shadows,
Yes, they cannot distinguish each other because of the darkness.
does that mean Pistachios is the good side here?
Is what?
The good side?
Good side?
Yeah. In the story?
How?
I mean, if we have darkness, we must have light.
So you mean Pistachios will be the light?
This is my question.
No, I don't think so. Do you think that she will be the light in this novel?
No.
She is the source of trouble, okay, in this novel. But some of you will sympathize with her because of the customs of the country, because of the restrictions of the tradition of the Egden. Maybe you will sympathize with her, but we cannot sympathize with her about her relationship with Wilder and Clem, and especially with Thompson, who writes. So can you sympathize with her about her action with Thompson, who writes? It's impossible, because she destroyed the life of this simple figure, okay? But maybe we will sympathize with her at first, okay? And your question may be answered clearly at the end of the novel. We will discover whether she is the light or the dark, okay? The light side or the dark side. Is it clear now the idea of invisible? So every term used by Thomas Hardy symbolizes something, okay? Every term, every word symbolizes something, so be careful. try to underline this word, invisible, when the figures themselves are invisible. So did the men recognize the locality of each fire by its angle and direction, though nothing of scenery could be viewed. So how can they distinguish, or they recognize the bonfire? By its direction, okay, by its light, but they cannot see each other. Okay, the next paragraph. The first tall flame from a black barrow sprang into the sky, attracting all eyes that had been fixed on. So, who is the first tall flame who attract all eyes? Of course, it seems that it has no meaning, just one of the bonfires or a flame which attract all the eyes. But we have another symbolic meaning about this. Who is the tall flame attracted the eyes of the folks, all of them? Okay? Yes? Klim? What else? Yes? Ostasia. What do you think?
The fire of Pistachios.
The fire of Ostasia. So it symbolized Ostasia. Okay? So it seems that Ostasia, from her bonfire, that she will attract all the others in Egdon Heath. Okay? On page 22, we have the names of the folks. Okay? The first one is a Grand Fir Cantal. Just I want you to know their names. And we have Timothy. Have you found it? Okay. About the middle. And how about the new married folks down there are the quiet women in? Underline the quiet women in and write it is the house of Wilder. It is not only his house, but his work. About the middle. The paragraph which is started by, and how about the new married folks down there are the quiet women in? What is the symbolic meaning of the quiet women in? What do you expect? You know, quiet women in, you know, in? So what do you expect? What is the symbolic meaning? Look, that it is the house of Wilder and the place of his work at the same time. So it seems that this name or this house symbolized or represent Wilder himself. So from this name, what do you think? What is the symbolic meaning? What about the character of Wilder? It is just suggestion, expectations.
He's quiet and sober.
He is what?
Quiet.
Quiet?
Yes, and sober.
So what about the relationship with women? Quiet women. Why quiet women? And Thomason? Do you think that it is something related to Thomason? I think that the quiet women in represents something, which is that Wilder is a playboy, okay? And for example, he is in a relationship with Thompson, and then he will leave her and make another relationship with Ostasia Vi. So he has such kind of relationships, and also he will have bad relationship with Ostasia Vi. So maybe the name of his house or the place of his work represents him, okay? And we will know that later on. Yes, we have something which is important, the last lines. I hear that they were coming home tonight. By this time, they must have come. What besides? The next thing is for us to go and wish them joy, I suppose. Who will come home? Who will come? Yes? The what? No, we are Wilder and Thompson, okay? So I hear that they were coming home tonight. Underline this, it's important. By this time, they must have come. Yes, the next page, 23. I met Mrs. Bright, the young bride aunt, last night, and she told me that her son Iklim was coming home. So underline, he was coming home at Christmas. This is the new news. And this will be the turning point in this novel. Why it is the turning point? Because everything will be changed, okay? With the coming of Iklim, which is the essence of our novel, the return of Iklim Bright, okay? So the coming of Iklim, or the return of Iklim Bright, who is the native, will be the turning point in this novel. Now, in this chapter, there's news that Iklim will come soon on a Christmas day. Yes. In the middle, seemingly, this, however, is it because of wedding that Iklim is coming home at Christmas to make a new arrangement because his mother is now left in the house alone? His mother is left alone. Yes. The last paragraph. Ever since her aunt altered her mind and said she might have the man after all. This is the speech of the folks. All of these things, all of these conversations between the folks, you know, Fairway, okay, and others, Christian. On page 25, the paragraph before the last one, which is started by, oh, now you had hardly believed it. Have you found it? Okay, the third line, just underline Thompson Bright and Wildive. Okay. A wedding at home. There will be a wedding at home between Thompson and Wildive. On page 31. It's a long chapter, right? Is it easy when you start reading it at home? Is it easy or difficult? Why? Because of the vocabulary, maybe? And this is the style of Thomas Hardy. You will discover many things about it. It's complex, filled with dark words, okay? Complex word. And because you know that Thomas Hardy, as I told you before, he's pessimist, hopeless character. And he's not only a novelist, he is a poet too. And he wrote many poems about war, okay? So the dominated feature in his style is sadness, darkness, pessimism, okay? For this reason you found it's difficult to understand the chapter. Okay, the first paragraph. Well, that's what we will do, said Fairway. We'll give a song to please the Lord. What's the good of Thompson? Underline. Thompson's cousin Clem coming home after the deed's done. He should have come aforth, so be he wanted to stop it and marry her himself. Stop it. What is the meaning of it? Stop what? Clem will come and stop something. The marriage between Thompson and Wildive. So why he will stop it? What do you think? It is just the speech of the folks. We don't know whether it is right or wrong, but they expect something, that Clem will come and stop the marriage because
he maybe want to marry
yes,
Thompson, and because Wildive is unsuitable for
yes, because Clem is a native. He knew Wildive very well, and maybe because he knew that Wildive is not good, and maybe he also wants to marry Thompson. For this reason, they expected that maybe he will come and stop the marriage. And now we have the last papers, 35. She was a woman of middle age. Who's this woman? The second paragraph, I think. On page 35. She was a woman of middle age with well-formed features of the type usually found. He's talking about Mrs. Ubright, middle age, not young woman. Okay, Mrs. Ubright. Now we have a conversation which is very important. Why this Mrs. Ubright said farewell? Mrs. Ubright, the end of this, at the bottom of the page. Have you found it?
Yes.
Okay. Why this Mrs. Ubright said farewell? Mrs. Ubright, not 10 minutes ago, a man was here asking for you, a riddle man. Okay? Underline it. What did he want? She's asking about the riddle man. What did he want from me? He didn't tell us. Something to sell, I suppose? What it can be. I am at a loss to understand. I'm glad to hear that your son, Mr. Clem, is coming home at Christmas, Mama. What a dog he used to be for bonfires. So Fairway told Mrs. Ubright that there is a man who is a riddle man, comes and asks about you. Okay? Now she's surprised. First of all, because she don't know this riddle man, and then she's asking about the reason why he came and asked about me. Maybe something happened. Okay? Yes, I believe he's coming. Who's he? Clem Ubright. Good. He must be a fine fellow by this time, said Fairway. He is a man now. He is not a fellow. He is not a boy. He is a man, educated one now. Okay, the last paragraph. I am sorry to stop the talk. After a long conversation with the folks, now Mrs. Ubright felt tired and she will stop the conversation in order to go home. I'm sorry to stop the talk, but I must be leaving you now. I'm crossing the heath towards my niece's new home, who is returning tonight with her husband, and hearing Olai's voice, I came up here to ask her if she would soon be going home. I should like her to walk with me, as her way is mine. So why Mrs. Ubright came here? She wants to visit Thompson and Wilder, and she heard the voice of Olai, and she preferred to walk with her in order, because their way is the same. You know their way is the same? Their way. For example, let's go to the stationery because our way is the same. Huh? Their way is the same. Okay. Why you will be safe to meet the riddle man that I told you. Okay, the last page. He's only gone back to get his van. We heard that your niece and her husband were coming straight home as soon as they were married, and we are going down there shortly to give him a song of welcome. Thank you indeed, said Mrs. Ubright. Very well. Are you ready, Olai? Yes, Mama. And there's a light shining from your niece's window. Look, we have another light. A light shining from your niece's window. Nieces means Thomason.
Yes.
See, it will help to keep us in the path. It is a sign of what? Because it's darkness. They don't know their way. But because of this light, they will know the path or the way, their way. She indicated the faint light at the bottom of the valley, which Fairway had pointed out, and the two women descended the burrow. This is the end of this chapter.